I really want everyone to enjoy their home and share it with others and have parties and have fun. I think that's really important.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Trista Ainsworth. Previously, episode 949 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 3 years, 1 month, 27 days, 23 hours, and about 18 minutes since we last recorded that conversation. That was done. This is now Trista. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. The last time we spoke, a few things were going on, and I remember you were the one episode where I had a conversation and I went on to look at some things that you were doing while I was speaking with you. And that didn't go well because I think I was doing like fasting where you're eating off hours and on hours. And the food that we saw on that, because I had to go share it with my wife after, right? So how
Yeah.
have things evolved?
Well, I changed. I completely am doing something different now. So
Okay.
I still cook for my family and friends and have parties, but I am now a professional organizer that I just started last year. So
Ooh.
that's completely different.
That's cool. That's really great. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope if we're ever in Oregon again that, like we are considered family and can get some type of food from your wonderful menu to eat.
Oh, of course. Anytime.
But yeah, tell us about the decluttering thing. How did it even come about that you transitioned from one to the other?
Yeah, so I had various food businesses throughout the years and I kept changing things. And so I kept giving away things and downsizing what we had in our home. And I loved that because you're kind of sharing with other people and they can really enjoy it, but then it doesn't take up space and stress in your life. And I kind of had a big thing where I took a course with a friend and it was kind of personal development. And I kind of realized that I really wanted to make a big change. So I decided to give up all of the business side of cooking and baking and just do something different. So,
So that was like the
yeah.
decluttering of your time right there.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then it transitioned into your personal life, did it? Like the stuff part now. Did you have a lot of stuff as well? No?
It's amazing because I have a Facebook group now where we're doing a challenge this month and we're giving away a certain amount of items per day, according to the calendar. And I'm amazed because I'm doing it with everybody else. And I can't believe that I still have things to give away. It's almost
Wow.
magical.
Mm, it
It's
is.
great, actually.
Now, you shared about your belief. Is that part of it, though? That principle of giving and more shall be given unto you?
Oh, yes, definitely. I love to give things a lot. Um, I don't like to sell objects really. I'd most rather give them away generally.
Yeah, we feel that way as well. Like, there's so many things that we've created, and the entrepreneurship has to step in where I am finding ways so that we can give things away because sometimes it's sad when one person isn't able to afford something, right? And that keeps them
Yes.
from getting it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, there's children somewhere there, right? Like,
Oh, yes, we have one son and he's 11 now.
right? How's
Yeah.
he been affected by everything that's going on with mommy?
Oh, it's so funny. He's just the most amazingly patient person, but through some of it, I ask him if I can rearrange his room or like if he wants to give away certain things, and he's always fine with it. He really he would much rather do things than have things. So I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, for 11 years, that's great.
Yeah.
There was a book called Essentialism by Greg McEwen. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, yes, that's a great book. I love that one.
Yeah, it's a great book. Is there something you would suggest we read on minimalism?
Gosh, well, I there was one that I really loved. It's called Goodbye
Mhm.
Things, and I cannot remember the author, but it's a Japanese gentleman. It's pretty recent, within the last 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. So, where's the website? What's the website we can go to check out what's going on with decluttering?
Yes, so I have a website called, well, I named it something a little different. My company is Joyful Minimalism, but I call it expansive.me. So I blog about personal growth and things like that because I feel like when you're shifting from things to giving it away, it's quite a journey. So I like to help people with that.
Yeah, a lot of it starts in the mind, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah.
We're finding that, like, so I had someone on the podcast this morning in my time, and they have a podcast, right, called
Hmm.
The Art of Decluttering podcast. So I'll definitely introduce you
Oh,
to them, right?
yes,
You'll
that
love
sounds
that.
amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it. I love to meet more people that do that.
Yeah, they're in Australia though. So, but I mean, there's no distance now with anything, right?
No, That's
Yeah.
great. I
So,
love
yeah,
it.
I'll definitely introduce you. But yeah, she spoke as well about how gentle and how much grace one needs to have when working with others. Is that something you found as well?
Oh, very true. Yeah, I really remain calm and I really like to listen and see because I'm always asking them how they feel.
Hmm.
Um, like how they feel now, how they're feeling throughout the process. Because usually we can only do about a 2 hour session because it's very intense
Hmm.
to go through your things. So I try to be mindful of that and yeah, let them have it's their thing, so they have say over it as well. So
That voice, Trista, there's a voice that speaks to us. The voice that said, start the business. The voice that said, hey, it's time to stop the business. The voice that said, hey, go into decluttering. And you get to choose whether or not you listen to that voice. How do you discern? How do you train yourself? Which one of the voices you're hearing? Because there are so many. Which
yes, it's
one to listen
difficult.
to?
Yeah, I really try to listen more to my heart and intuition now rather than, kind of all the should do things.
Hmm.
Because that happens every day where you hear those, but you just try to make them a little quieter.
Yeah, some of them have amplified voices, right? It's like, do it
Hmm.
now. That's wonderful. All right, so your husband is there as well. He's in the mix of
Yes,
this. You're
yes,
decluttering, you're organizing. Where is he in the midst of it?
yes. So um, I really try to be really, really patient with him because he doesn't really like to go through things.
Hmm.
So I have put a few things in a box that I'd love for him to go through, but I kind of see how he's feeling, and then maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be like, hey, could you maybe take 5 minutes and see if you want some of these things? But I try to be mindful of people's energy and how, if they really want to do that or not. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, just trying to gauge because I have a different energy about it than other people. So,
Hmm.
got to make sure that they really want to do it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, because I am guilty as well, right? Let's like get through that now. Like I want to throw the things that I need to throw away now, and it's really,
It's very
it's really
tricky.
grace. Yeah, you really need to exercise grace. It is so
Yes.
important. In the midst of it, I think my mindset is one where I'm thinking about how fickle our lives are and how possible it is for us to die today or tomorrow. And in the midst of that, that really pushes me on. So is that a thought that you have? Does that come across your mind, the possibility that you could die today or tomorrow? And how does it impact your planning?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I, I probably don't, to be honest, think about it a lot, but I do try to enjoy things a lot. I've really focused more on friendships and getting together with people and spending time, making sure I make time with friends and, have a coffee or go out to eat or get to know people. So that's become more of a focus of mine lately, because I think that's what really matters. So, yeah.
I agree with you, Trista. It is such of a grand opportunity to call and to find out that you've not given up, right? It has evolved,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, the
Oh,
cooking
yes.
specifically, like I'm glad you have not given up on that. But
Oh,
the
no.
decluttering and the organizing and how that has evolved. Again, I do thank you for your service to humanity because I've identified that the thing that you're doing is something you didn't have to. You could have kept everything you were learning and you could have said, hey, this is mine or just for my family. But you've decided to share it and find ways to share it with others. So well done on that. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, I would say that I really want everyone to enjoy their home and share it with others and have parties and have fun. I think that's really important.
Trista, again, a pleasure I treasure. Thank you, my friend, for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.